your hydration on vibration zone. Cause tonight you're about to receive some delicious food for your soul. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's about to get hot. You are indeed the one and only place to be this evening. We appreciate you for joining us, and in just a few moments, we about to turn the heat all the way up. That's right. It's about to go down right now on Hot Topics with Donna. Show your virtual love by smashing that thumbs up and heart icon as many times as you can. And without further ado, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing your host, the one and only Hot Donna.
Hello. Hey, Terrence. Hey, Amanda. Thank you guys for tuning in to Hot Topics with Donna. This is going to be my second part of What is Your Love Language? Because I did the other one on the 10th. So I am back tonight with part 2 of What is Your Love Language? And so this is the book. If you ever want to go get it, it's by Gary Chapman. So this is your love language. It can be for your friends, your children, your significant others, or your spouse, whoever. But I am your host, Donna Taylor, here with Hot Topics with Donna, live on DTV. So I'm just excited. So the word that I chose tonight is authenticity. And it came from 1 Samuel 16:7, and it says, God sees not as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And that's how we should see ourselves, and even when we're in relationships. And so I'm going to read you just a little snippet of something. It says, honest and genuine relationships are priceless. When we hide who we are, it becomes almost impossible for those who love us to enter into our lives and truly know us. It says, a shallow relationship is empty and lonely. In order for us to have solid friendships, relationships, we need to let our guard down and let others into hidden areas of our life, especially if we're trying to cultivate relationships, meaningful relationships, not just any and everybody. It's meaningful relationships, whether it's with your children, with your parents, with your husbands, your wife, your significant others. And then it also said, there is much joy and freedom to be found in being who you are. So at the end of the day, just love who you are. And so I'm not going to be before you long, but the guest that I had on tonight, we'll reschedule. He had some unfortunate stuff happen. Someone hacked his Facebook account. And so guys, just a little FYI, make sure any accounts that you have, make sure you do the two-step, what's the word? Authentic two-step, so you can protect your social media things, because people will hack you. So just make sure you're covering every basis that you need to cover, so it won't happen to you, me, anybody that is on a platform, whether you're doing podcasts or whatever you're doing, even your own personal page. People are out here hacking accounts. So that's just a little tidbit. Hey, Miss Faye, thank you for joining. So if you was on the 10th, I talked about the 5 different types of love language. And I'm going to go ahead and just tell you what mine's and my partner's percentage is, and then we'll divulge into the different types, and I'll tell you what they mean. So words of affirmation, mine was 20%. Acts of service were only 10%. Receiving gifts, I scored 7%. Quality time was 33%. And physical touch was 30%. Those were mine. And so his was words of affirmation was 40%, acts of service 27%, receiving gifts 3%, quality time 17%, and physical touch was 13%. So we all have our different love language. And so I'm going to read to you what it says about words of affirmation. People who love language is words of affirmation. They value verbal acknowledgement of affection, including frequent I love yous, compliments, words of appreciation, verbal encouragement, and often frequent digital communication like texting on your social media and stuff like that. So if that's your love language, that's what people that have the love language of words of affirmation. So that's how you show that you want to be loved and how you express your love. And everybody's love language is going to be different. And that's why it's important that you know your love language. Whether you have children, you need to know your children's love language. As I stated on last week, it's important that we know our love language, because when we know our love language, then people will know how to love us, and then we can express what we need. And so the second one is quality time. Quality time, and for the people that have this language, you feel the most adored when the partner actively wants to spend time with you and always down to hang out. They particularly love when you're actively listening, eye contact, and full presence, or prioritize in whatever they're doing in a relationship. And this language is about giving your undivided attention to that one special person, whether it's your friends, your spouse, your significant others, your children, with no distractions, like being on the cell phones, doing work on the computer or whatever. And a lot of times, this is a big one, because most of the time, me including, we tend to be on our phones when people are trying to talk to us. Even when we have dinner, we have our phones out. And for the person that values quality time, this may be hard for them when their significant others or their friends are so engaged in something else besides spending that quality time. Only because you're physically in a room with that person, whether it's your spouse, your significant other, or your children, that's not spending quality time when you're on Facebook or when you're doing something else. Yes, happy Valentine's Day, Sheena. Happy Valentine's Day to you guys. You see I dressed up in my red dress today, but I am so thankful. And so that is quality time. Sheena, did you see what my score was? Did you get to see it? Because I think I posted it. Hey, I got hacked a couple of weeks ago. Someone is trying to get money. It happened to me. Some people have no good intentions in your name because of the greed. You are so right. Absolutely, Miss Faye. And it was so unfortunate for my guest. You know, he was hacked, and so now he got to go through all these different process to even get, you know, his page back, or even to create a new page. So we must always have a two-step security so people can't hack us. Happy Valentine's Day, Miss Faye. So the second one was quality time. Oh, okay, Sheena, let me know when you do yours. And so, if Sheena, if you don't mind, if you can put the link in this one so people can like take the test quickly, and maybe they'll be able to share theirs when they or before I get off live, because I told you I wasn't going to be on long. I just wanted to just come on here and just share some Valentine's love, and so, you know, we can know what our love language is even when we interact with each other. The third one is physical touch. And it says physical touch is showing love through hugging, cuddling, being intimate, or simply putting a caring hand on the shoulder. And then people with this love language, they want you to hug them and cuddle with them. Public display of affection to feel that you love them and to demonstrate their love for those they care about. And it says people with physical touch, it says you feel lonely when you have not been physically near the loved ones. And so like I always tell you, let me see, Sheena just took hers again. 30%, 27%. So Sheena, yours is 30% words of affirmation, 27% quality time, 23% acts of service, 17% physical touch, and 3% receiving gifts. So Sheena, did yours change from last week when you took it? Hey, Denitra, thanks for joining. Happy Valentine's Day. And before we go any further, it was even when I told my person, I was like, just take the test. And, he was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to take it or not. And I was like, just take it. And so if you all have seen how different our love language is, but when he sent me his, I wasn't surprised that's the order that his went in. And so with gifts, the people that love language is gifts, they like receiving things. This is how they feel love. It doesn't mean that they're materialistic. It just means that's just how they feel love when they get a gift. It could be big or it can be small. It can be lunch. It can be dinner. It can just be some donuts or some coffee. But everyone has their own love language, and some may score higher than others and some may not. But it's important. It's very, very important that we know our love language. And like I told you guys last week, when you know your love language, then you will be able to articulate your needs to your spouse, to your significant other, to your friends, to your children. Your children will be able to say, hey, this is what I need. And people fail to realize our children are just little people too. But as they get a certain age, when you learn their love language, then you will know how to better love them. Because we automatically have a love for them. But if I have a child that likes quality time and I'm giving them gifts, then I'm not doing them a service. I'm not giving them what they need. I'm not giving them the love language that they need. Hey, Gina, love you. So if your children requires, oh, Gina, put it in here. Put it in here. Yeah, Gina, put your love language in there. Take the test right quick. That's my beautiful niece from Maryland. And so we must know, yes, see you. I'm looking forward to it. So when we know our children's love language, we can cultivate what they need. Because I want to be able to love my children wherever their love language is. And that's how we should be. Because when we just think our children want gifts, when they really want quality time, then we're not feeding what they need. We're not meeting them where they're at. We're saying, mommy, I want to spend time with you, but every time you turn around, okay, well, I'm buying you this gift, and it's not helping them. So Gina, do you have the percentage of yours? Hi, Rashida. Thank you for joining. And we're talking about the love language, the 5 love language. And then, like I said, this is the book. And the 5 love languages, not just for, your spouse, your significant other. It is for your children, your friendships. Because when we know our love language, then we can teach people how to love us and know what we need. Because if my friends know that I'm not a gift person, why would they give me gifts when they know that mine is quality time? And then the 5th one is acts of service. Acts of service is when someone do something for you, cooking, cleaning, running errands for you. And people be like, well, why is that so important? Well, there again, if acts of service is what your spouse or your children needs or your friends need, then that's what we should be cultivating. That's what we should be giving them. So 30% of acts of service. So Gina, yours is 30% acts of service. And then people with acts of service, they really appreciate whatever you do for them, even the little minute thing. And we should never take anyone in our lives that means something to us for granted when they're telling us what their love language is. Because when we know that, so Gina's is 30% active service, 20% words of affirmation, quality time 17%, physical touch 13%, and receiving gifts. And so, like I told you guys last time, I am not a gift person, but don't get me wrong. If I receive a gift, I am truly thankful, but I'm just not a gifts person. It doesn't mean that I don't love gifts. It's just that that's not my number one love language. And as you might have seen in the comments when I started, 33% of my love language is for quality time and 30% is physical touch. That's just who I am. Oh, wow. That's awesome, Gina. And that's so important for us to know. When we know these things, it just makes us better people. It makes us better people because then we can say, I don't need a gift. I like this. This is how I feel love. And so after the acts of service, it also said, what is most of the men's love language? And it says the most common love language by far is quality time for most men and women. And in fact, it is chosen twice as much than words of affirmation and physical touch for most men. Amen. And that's why we need to know each other's love language. And guys, and a lot of times when we hear physical touch can be intimate, but physical touch is also the emotional piece. It's just, like if you touch my hand, it is not always the intimacy piece. That plays a part, but it's more than that. Well, niece, you're gonna have to. We'll talk about that when you come this weekend. We will talk about some love language, and it says the least common love language. It was acts of service, and it only had 11.8%. 11.8%. And so then I looked a little further, and it says how to cope when you have different love language. Now listen, you guys know, being in a marriage, a relationship, friendship, whatever the case may be, it takes some, it can be challenging. It can truly be challenging. But if you work together, then you can come together and make it work. And so the first one says, know that not every couple speaks the same language. And only because it's couples, that can go for friendships, relationship with your family, your parents, your co-workers. So love language can go across the board with whomever you come in contact with and you are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And then the second one is establish what your love language is. And that's why it's so important that we establish what our love language is. Because like I said, I don't want you giving me gifts and you know that mine is truly quality time. It's not that I'm not going to be appreciative, but if my love language is quality time, I'm telling you, this is what I need. Quality time. And most of my friends already know quality time is very important to me. Because when I spend quality time with my friends, with my significant others, with my family, then that's feeding me. That's feeding me emotionally, physically, and spiritually, because I am spending time with the people that I love, the people that mean something to me. And then the third one, you have to learn to compromise. And when I was reading this, I was like, well, maybe learn to compromise should have been the first one, because a lot of times we don't want to compromise. We don't want to compromise because we feel like it takes a piece of us and put us in bondage, because we feel like we're giving up something to get something. But you can't look at compromise that way. When you compromise, you're saying, okay, let me take a step back. Maybe, just maybe, I need to look a little deeper and I can see it from their point of view and see what they're thinking. And Gina, I used to be one of those people. I used to be one of those people that hate compromising. Hey, Mr. Anthony, I used to hate that, because when you have past hurts, past, disappointments or whatever, and for me, if I compromise that, for me, it felt like I'm giving up something, but in return, I'm giving up something. Am I going to be disappointed? But now, as I've grown and I am evolving into the person that I am today, compromising doesn't mean that somebody is going to wrong you. It just means that you're learning how to say, I can step back and do this. Hey, Mr. Anthony, happy Valentine's Day to you. Gina said, I think compromising is amazing in everything, because you are saying, okay, I value what's important to this other person. Absolutely. And that's where I'm at now. So I don't feel like if I compromise that someone is going to wrong me. I just feel like, okay, well, it's not always about you, because when you have been used to getting your way, even if it was wrong, you got to learn a different way. You have to learn a different way. And so for me, compromising means now I want the people in my life that mean something to me to be healthy. And if I choose to have friendships and build friendships, then I have to learn to compromise and say, you know what, maybe, it may not be that bad. And since I'm learning to compromise, it is all good. It's not bad. It's just, you have to get out your own head sometimes and not think that everybody that you come in contact with, in relationships with, are out to do you wrong. So you don't have a problem with compromising. And that's where I'm at. So I'm learning to trust the people that's in my life. And if there comes a situation where I have to compromise, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And then the fourth one is communicate what you need. You have to communicate what you need to feel love. And just like I said earlier, if you know quality time is not what you need and is, acts of service, then you need to be able to articulate that. Don't allow people to say, well, this is your love language because you act this way or you act that way. No. I'm telling you, this is my love language, and I need you to respect that. And when we can articulate that, then we can start healthy relationships. And the fifth one is know that you don't have to just settle. You don't have to settle. Because when we settle, because we want these relationships and we want to cultivate these relationships, sometimes we settle, and we shouldn't have to. If you know your love language, and that's why I said, if you guys, Sheena put it in the comment section, if you can just quickly take it, I would love to see what you guys' love language is. That would be awesome. And like I said before, remember, love is a choice. We choose to love. We choose to love. And when we choose to love and allow ourselves to be loved, then we'll be able to say, hey, these are the love languages. And these are my top 3 or top 2. And then when you set those boundaries, then people will respect that. People will say, wow, she likes quality time. So they'll be like, well, I'm not going to do acts of service, because that's not going to move her, if you will, or move him, if you will. So love is a choice. Love is a choice. And, I'm going to tell y'all something funny. So, it's Valentine's Day. And so on yesterday, I went to look for, Cameron some Valentine's cards for school. So I went to 3 different stores, and all the stores, it was nothing. And so I was like, wow. I was like, is everyone in love? Or is it just the superficial because it's Valentine's Day and we just want to say, oh, I got you this, I love you. And like I said last time on my live, when Valentine's Day is over tomorrow, will you still have people knowing what your love language is? Will people still show their spouses, their significant others, their friend, will they show them acts of service, physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation? Because you already getting the gifts. So will all that stuff still happen tomorrow? Or was it just because it was Valentine's Day and you go in the stores, you see all the, nice decorations and you feel, oh, well, I need to do this. But when you know your love language will be Valentine's Day every day. It will be Valentine's Day next week, tomorrow. It won't change. It won't change. And then it also said, love makes a difference. Love makes a difference. But the funny thing is, love does make a difference, but it makes a difference when you love yourself first. You have to love who you are first. And when you can truly love who you are from the inside out, then everything else will fall in place. Then you will be able to articulate what your love language is. Because a lot of times, and including myself, there was a time I didn't love me because I allowed somebody else to dictate who I was and what love was supposed to be like. And then we get so caught up in getting validation from others. And when they let you down, what do you have? What do you have when your spouse doesn't tell you that you're beautiful today? What do you have when your girlfriend don't call you and say, hey, I'm going here, but then you find out later that they went somewhere else and they didn't call you? So when we love ourselves, then we're able to say, this is my boundaries. This is what I need from you. If you can fulfill those things, great. But if you don't try, then we need to sit down and talk about my boundaries and what I need from you in whatever relationship that you're in. And then, this is the big one, loving the unlovable. And we don't want to admit that sometimes we don't love people, because sometimes people are hard to love. But when we love who we are, and when we know who we are, especially in Christ, we will love them in spite of their shortcoming. Do we have to continue to put ourselves in toxic situations or hostile situations? Absolutely not. It doesn't mean that we don't love them. It's just saying, hi, I love you, but right now I need to stay my distance in order for me to continue to love you like Christ loves you and how Christ loves me. Because we will come and we will have encounters with people that you just don't want to love. And yes, I said it. Sometimes people make you not want to love them. But because the Christ in us, we love them in spite of. Because our Father doesn't give up on us when we have shortcomings, when we have, when we don't cross every I and cross every T and dot every I. It's just the truth of the matter. And sometimes, if truth be known, we may be even difficult to love. for our own selfish reasons. And then I looked up what Valentine's Day was called and where did it come from. So Valentine's Day, it says, it was also called Saint Valentine's Day, or the Feast of the Saint Valentines. They celebrated it annually on February the 14th. It originated as a Christian feast day, honoring one or two early Christians monarchs named Saint Valentine's. Through later folk traditions have become a significant cultural, religious, and commercial celebration of romance and love in many regions of the world. So you see, Valentine's is just not celebrated in the United States, and that's how Valentine's Day became its own day. And so I'm going to leave you with some scriptures, what the Bible says about Valentine's Day. And I chose 1 Corinthians 16 and 14, and it says, "Let all that you do be done in love." And that's from our Father. And then Psalms 37 and 4 says, "Delight yourself in the love, and he will give you the desires of your heart." These are his Valentine's words, if you will, to us. And then I also wrote, Valentine's Day can create a variety of emotions for different people. For some, it creates a great satisfaction celebrating the love you have between you and your spouse or your significant others, your family and your friends. For others, it can cause feelings of loneliness. Whether you are single or in a relationship, let there be Bible verses encouraging you to celebrate God knowing that God has unconditional and indescribable love for you, for me. No matter your age or your stage in life, Valentine's Day can be celebrated because of God's great love. And then the next scripture I chose was 1 Corinthians 13 and 13. It says, "And now these three things remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of all is love." And so for that, we should be grateful. We should be so grateful. And then this is the most powerful one that truly speaks the love of a Valentine's, because we are our Father's Valentine's. And this is John 3 and 16. And you guys know it. "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." And that's love in itself. That is so unconditional love. That is so unconditional love. That is so our happy Valentine's Day love, because he loved us just that much. He loved us just that much. And then the last verse is 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And it said, "Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. Keep no record of wrongs." And you know, we can all do that. We can keep records of who did us wrong. "Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hope, always preserve. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away." And so, with that being said, love each other where you're at. Truly, truly love. Don't have this fake love that you feel you have to put on the front, because eventually the real you will surface. And if you get time, do your love language test, because it's so important that you know what your love language is. And then when you enter relationships, or if you're already in relationship, sit down with your significant other. If you're married, sit down with your husband and say, hey, let's take this test. You take it and then I take it. And then you can compare what your love language is. Then you could compare, and then you can say, wow, maybe that's why they do things this way. And then that's where the compromise come in. Because if mine is quality time and his is words of affirmation, so we have to learn to balance it out. And when we can do that, then you can cultivate the relationship even more. And because this is my love language, it doesn't take away from their love language. It's just saying that, hey, our love language is different, but yet and still we can love each other wherever our love language is. And Sheena, I might take mine again just to see if it come up different. And then also, if you go on this love language test, the website, when you go on there, you can take a test to learn how you deal with anger. So they have a lot of different tests on there that you can take. But I wanted to come on just to say, I love you guys, truly. Thank you for supporting Hot Topics with Donna. Thank you every week you come on. You guys chime in. I have some amazing guests coming up. I've had some amazing guests in the past, and I'm truly excited. And so, like I told you guys, my 1-year anniversary will be coming up on the 22nd. And so I am going to be giving away some gifts, and they're going to be either wine glass, coffee mugs, or just like a bigger mug. And they will have my Donna Taylor Network logo on them. So come on. So we're going to play some fun games. So how we're going to play these games, I will ask who have been some of my guests on here. I will give you some multiple choice. I will give you questions about me to see how much you have been following me, to know who I am. So we're just going to have a great time. I will ship these items to you free, but I just want to have some fun on my 1-year anniversary. And I'm so thankful to all of you. Sheena, I'm so thankful. You've been on here. My niece Gina's been on here. Miss Faye, you've been on here. And so I'm just looking forward to just growing even the more. But one thing that I do love about Hot Topics with Donna and my guests, when they come on and they're honest, open, and transparent, when they come on and they're able to share their story and feel comfortable sharing their story here on our podcast. And we don't take it for granted. We do not. We have some amazing people, ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their communities. And so if you have a story you want to share, just reach out and say, hey, I have a story. And it's also a form of networking, and to say, hey, oh yeah, she had this person on here. You might need a service. You might need a service. But we've all had our life challenges. Some may be up here, some may be down here, but whatever your challenges were, it doesn't mean because mine were this big and yours were this big that I'm better or you better. It just means that we had some life challenges and we were able to overcome with the help of our Father. And then we can be a light to help someone else. Oh, thank you, Miss Faye. I appreciate you too, working through those challenges. And that's the thing, Sheena. We have to work through those challenges. And when we can see people that go through challenges but still persevere, still overcome, that's what this platform is about. Because we want to be a light to someone else. We want to show people, hey, do I always have it together? Heck no. No, I don't always have it together. And even with me, I tell you guys all the time, even with me, even after losing a spouse of 30 years, And it's almost 2 years. Only because I can go on and move on, it doesn't mean that I always have it together. It doesn't mean that I still have some grieving time when something just happened and it triggered. It just means that I love who I am, and I love the relationship that my late husband and I had, and I love the conversations that we had leading up to his passing. So don't ever think because I come on here and I'm fixed up or whatever that I have it all together, because I don't. Because I don't. And I don't try to, to put on that I have it together, because you know what? At the end of the day, I can fool you guys all day. But God is saying, sit your tail down. You don't have it together. And at the end of the day, who are you to put on for people? Because when we do that, then we're saying, I want people to accept me because they think I got it going on. But if people love you, truly love you, they would accept you even through your challenges. They will accept you when you are here, and they will accept you when you're just at the bottom trying to figure out, how am I going to make it? How am I going to make it? Because just like I told you guys, one thing that I have truly found out in the last 2 years of losing a spouse is that death will show you who's there for you and who will say they're there for you. And when that pill is hard to swallow, at the end of the day, I knew that everybody can walk away, but I knew the God that I serve, my Father, kept me even when I didn't know how to keep myself. And so the love that I have for people, I still have. It didn't change. It just means that, hey, I had to put you in another category to say, you know what? I love you, and you say you love me. But where you're trying to go, you can't allow these distractions to hinder you. You have to keep moving forward. And that's what I've chose to do, because at the end of the day, if I walk away from the Father, I will be absolutely nothing. Nothing. And so when you go through life challenges and you know who you serve, you will learn to walk through those challenges with your head held high, still loving who you are, still loving people when they walk out on you. And yours may not be through death. Yours may be through something else. Some people may not, are there with you when you move into a new relationship or when you get new things. But whatever the case may be, you have to always depend on the Father, because man will fail you every time. They will fail you every time. So don't ever think that your life challenges will destroy you. It will only destroy you if you allow them to. And I'm thankful that my life challenging, my life altering moment didn't destroy me. That I still can love. I still can just be Donna and be me unapologetic with my flaws and all, because at the end of the day, this is who I am. And every day that I live another day, I ask God to make me a better person, teach me how to be a better person. If there's anything that's in me that you don't like, you show me. And that's when we can do that, when we know our love languages. When we know our love language, then we'll be like, oh, okay, well, do I need quality time? Yes, you can tell people, this is the type of quality time I need. Do I need physical touch? This is kind of physical touch I need. If you're with your homegirls and you know that you need that hug before they leave to make you feel love, and that's how you love, then hey, say, look, chick, before you leave, give me a hug, because this is what I need. This is my language. So everyone needs to know their language. It's very, very important. And let that be your Valentine's gift to yourself. or to your children. If your children is old enough, you can explain to them. You can explain, say, hey, what do you think about this? And just read it to them. And when we can do that, Valentine's Day will be every day with our love language. It would just be every day. And so I'm going to take this test again, probably tomorrow, Sheena, to see if my love language changed, but it probably has not. it probably hasn't changed. But at the end of the day, know your love language. Know your love language. And when you know your love language, and then you know your partner's spouse, your children, your friends, then you can cultivate those relationships. You can really cultivate some amazing relationships, and it just makes it better, because now you don't have to second guess and be like, dang, do she like this? Do he like this? Like, why they acting that way? And then when you know their love language, you be like, oh, wow, I missed the mark, because they love words of affirmation, and I'm steady giving them gifts. And you're steady bumping heads, and then you feel like, well, they're ungrateful. I'm giving them these gifts, but they're ungrateful. No, it's not that they're ungrateful, but that's not their love language. If their love language is acts of service, then you need to give them that. Because at the end of the day, the people that we love, we want to make sure we're loving them with their love language. And when we love people with their love language, then they're happy. And that's what the ultimate goal is to be happy, healthy, and whole in our relationships, friendships, in our families. So I hope you guys got some amazing gifts for Valentine's Day. Thank you for tuning in to part 2 of What is Your Love Language? And like I said, here's the book. You can go get it. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And it says how to express your heartfelt communication. And this one said to your mate, but not only to your mate, to your sisters, to your family. So take the test. Take the test and see what is your love language. And if you don't mind, post it in here so we can see what your love language is. And I just will be back tomorrow, and I'm going to have another guest on tomorrow, Miss Rashida, and then on tomorrow's Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll have another guest. So I'll be back. Yes, Sheena, take the test. She said take the test. But it's an amazing test. You won't be disappointed. You might find out some things about yourself. You might find out some things about, your girlfriends. Like I said, my niece is coming in town, so we might have a girls' night and get together, and we all sit around and take this test and see what happens. But the most important thing is, if you don't get anything else from what I am saying tonight, please, please, please know your love language, so people in your life would truly know how to fully love you. Know how to fully love you in your correct way. So, hey, Lynetta, thank you for joining. But yes, just know your love language. Know your love language. And I couldn't say it any more better. Sheena told you to take the test. She posted it already in the link. And Sheena, maybe I'll do Lynetta, yeah, but you can post yours. I'm finna sum it up. But Sheena and I took the test. It says anger, so maybe I'll come back on an off night and just do a fun test about the anger, because it helped you. Okay, Lynetta, and when you do the replay, just put your love language in there so people can see. But we might come back and do the anger test. Excuse me. But until tomorrow, guys, I love you. Stay safe. Excuse me. Stay safe. And like I said, what is your love language? This has been another episode, part 2 of What is Your Love Language? And hey, you guys saw what mine was. But until then, you guys have an amazing rest of your Valentine's Day. Know your love language when you're finishing up your night tonight with your friends, with your husband, with your significant other. So know your love language. And with that being said, I am your host, Donna Taylor, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night and happy Valentine's Day.